So Operation Smile first started like any other pitch or any other business engagement that we'd have with a client. It's a really big NGO, big global business that has decades worth of experience, highly organized and very mechanized and very good at what they do. So they were looking for an idea and a new platform to help them with certain elements of their business. So really the introduction was quite businesslike. They came in, they spoke to the agency, they expressed their frustrations, challenges and issues and what they wanted to achieve. And we spoke to them about what we thought we could do and how we could help. The interesting thing is that they are just like any other client. They really are. I mean, they have, if they're not happy about something, they'll let you know. If they are happy about something, then they will let you know. They are great collaborators. And it wasn't a case of us just, proactively going to them with this kind of crazy idea. We really did go through a strategy. We had to jump through a lot of hoops. We had to present to a global team. We actually presented to the founders of Operation Smile, which was quite nerve-wracking. The campaign was then taken and spread around their network. So there were considerable amounts of hoops and layers that we had to go through.
I think we look at Operation Smile, or Operation 45 as we call it, and any other societal problem, the way we would look at a client brief. We don't make a distinction between what is a commercial brief and what is a societal or pro bono brief. And the reason for that is that we want to ensure that we can have meaningful effect in the problem that we're trying to solve. And whether that problem, as I say, strictly speaking, a commercial one or a societal one, the same thinking applies. For us, it's really about being able to apply strategic and creative thinking that allows us to solve problems. And really, I can only crystallize it that simply.
So how we unpacked it, and we kind of got down to, I think, what we always like to do, which is find out what their biggest challenge is. What is the client's biggest problem? And the client's biggest problem, or the organization's biggest problem, is that they just aren't well known enough. It's the awareness. Cleft lips and cleft palates occur, I think the stat is 1 out of every 700 children in South Africa have a cleft lip or cleft palate, and they are largely in rural, underprivileged areas. So the access to treatment is very difficult to come by, let alone awareness. So the idea stemmed from the fact that in passing, the client was going on about how they're free surgeries and how they're readily available to do these surgeries, and the stigma attached to it and the fact that people think it's a long and complicated operation. And then she said, and Graham, it only takes 45 minutes. And that was the light bulb moment. The fact that this operation that could change a child's life forever only takes 45 minutes. And that became sort of the springboard and the catalyst for the idea, because we then attached the idea of something that every South African knows, which is soccer. And half a game of soccer is 45 minutes. So all we had to do was to destigmatize and create awareness, is somehow connect half a game of soccer to a 45-minute cleft lip or cleft palate operation. And then that became our entry point into using the Soweto derby, South Africa's, in fact, Africa's biggest football game, to do 2 live operations on 2 children during each half, as a way of creating mass awareness and dramatizing to the nation that it does actually indeed only take 45 minutes to change a life. And then that's what we did. We kind of went into a massive multi-platform campaign. Lots of different media channels were used. We brought on board corporate sponsors like Adidas got involved. They were terrific and gave us not only a pedigree, but they actually gave us their social media platforms, some of their CSI platforms, obviously very connected to football and soccer in South Africa. So they helped to kind of grease the wheels. We worked with PR agencies. We worked with a terrific digital agency who helped build our microsites. And DSTV also came on board as media partners, and they gave us 3 30-second slots during the broadcast of the Chiefs-Pirates game. And we actually did these interviews with the doctor and the medical team. There was a pre-game interview, which kind of set up what we were going to do during each half. And then at halftime, he gave a halftime capture of what had happened in the operation and introduced the next kid for the next operation. And then traditionally, we had our end of the game post-match report with the medical staff, let everybody know on television that both surgeries went absolutely well, the families were happy, the kids were in recovery. And the way that we actually broadcasted the operations during the game was through Twitter. If you follow a soccer game on Twitter, it'll be like on the 5th minute, this guy put in a tackle, and on the 7th minute, this guy scored a goal. We did exactly the same thing, only using medical terminology, saying the doctors made the first incision, the parents are doing well, and the 12th minute X, Y, and Z happened. So you could on the day literally follow the game on your cell phone while you were watching television, which is quite an insightful way of, capturing the moment, because the whole second screen phenomenon is something that everybody does. People watch sport with their cell phones in their hand. So the use of channels were quite interesting, and I think quite innovative. And I think we kind of also we developed some beautiful documentaries. There was a 3-part documentary series shot by Arcade Content using an amazing director called Lebo, and he captured a 3-part series where we were introduced to the 2 children that Operation Smile identified.
The first time I saw Alex and I saw his condition, I cried. I was jittery. It's my firstborn. I don't know what to do. No, kumona jale ka bana ba bana ba ba.
E ke tsama ka kere ke bile motho a mputisa gore ngwana ke gore ke no mmotsa re vele o tlile a leso.
Re no phela ralo ka le no phela thabika.
You don't see it anymore after a while. And if he smiles, that's the best part.
When he wakes up in the morning before I go to work, he's waking up with smiles. It's also making my day. Sometimes it's difficult. Every day we learn something new.
Yes, yeah, now hanchi ukra akere kwetju vele bana ho mojisa e seta feletse a tswe dijo ka mo dinkonso. Banung okay o buleile from ko hare kwa. Ka mo saiteng ka mo hana silo ko ke A1.
The first time I tried to feed him, it got stuck in his palate and he choked. That was one of the scariest things, and that's what happens every day, basically.
Aka gola le soma e tlo ba ka mogomo o yena.
Amo maka lor khani motho ena go mo byang wa sa tshwane le batho.
I was quite worried about Alex, especially when he's going to start his schooling. I know what children is like on school.
Most of the people is making a joke because of his condition. I get mad. We didn't know what we're going to do.
When I operation ya fence ya mlukisa, it took 45 minutes, right?
It feels wonderful.
Setli bila senke ka no bona o ka utlwa. O bolela ka lo tsa tsona tse.
ba fetsa moro ka mone ke emetse gore maybe nka kenya go mo direla ntwe nngwe e kgolo ke mirele party ke ba bitse ka moka ba tle ba mmone.
So we kind of got into some interesting insights around living with cleft palates and cleft lips. The second part of the episode was just documenting what we did on the day, doing 2 live operations while a game of football was being played. So that was quite an action-packed demonstration of what actually happened on the day. And we're busy right now. In fact, today as we record this, our creative team is in Mpumalanga today visiting the children and seeing their recovery. And I've just actually seen a couple of photographs that have come through, and the recovery is unbelievable. I mean, it is just a very, very faint, tiny little mark, but the kids are healthy, they're eating, they're chewing, the result is unbelievable, and it's just off the back of a 45-minute operation. The interesting thing for us is that because it was largely a digital campaign, it was largely a social media online campaign. Yes, there were lots of above-the-line elements to it. Everything was trackable and everything was traceable. And there was a very important component, which was creating this mass awareness in order for people to use the Mobi site to register their child for an operation, as well as attracting volunteers. Obviously, the most important thing was to get the message as far and wide as possible. And working with our PR agency, you know, we managed to get the conversation and the story into, you know, all sorts of media, not just like all the mainstream news channels, from SABC to E to News 24, etc. But we also got it into like daily magazines and publications, whether they be in print or online, such as Huisgenoot and People magazine. They all picked up on the story. And it did become a bit of a news story, and it was great content for a lot of media. And the PR agency actually measured the engagement, taking all of the television engagement, which is using the biggest football game in Africa, as well as all the online social chatter, as well as all of the placed and earned media. They reckon the engagement is about 22 million people, which is a phenomenal amount of reach, and it's almost kind of, it's almost difficult to conceive. That's almost like half the country. But all of that means nothing unless you actually are moving a dial somewhere. And in the first 2 months, we have received over 17 families that have come forward through the Mobi site to put their children up for an operation. And just to give you some context, that within a year, Operation Smile only received about 30 requests for an operation. And in 2 months, we've received over half of that. So the numbers are really starting to trickle through. Obviously, the engagement and awareness is important. And then in terms of the volunteers, these are young doctors, young professionals, or anybody that actually wants to get involved. We've seen those numbers tremendously shift as well.
The added difference for us when looking at something like Operation 45 or Operation Smile is the fact that we can be a part of the success of that journey in society. So watching the number of operations registered, which has far outstripped anything that's happened in Operation 45 before, is a massive reward that only comes once in a career. So the way we look at the return on investment is twofold. Firstly is the impact we can have on that organization or that charity in its society. And that's quite hard to monitor. It is. There's no two ways about it. But where the stats are shared with us, whether that's with our work with Giver or Hope Soap or Operation 45, or Women of Worth or Surfshack, we can continually monitor the dial going upwards, because these are not just one-off projects, these are actually human relationships with personal interest that we monitor throughout a very long period of time. But it is harder to quantify. We're very happy to share this work with our clients. And the example I would give is just last week we were presenting to a rather stiff bunch of pharmaceutical procurement specialists, and we showed them the films of Operation Smile. And there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Fundamentally, when you're pulling on an emotionally invested curve, and you've got people invested in the outcome of children's lives being changed as a result of a very simple 45-minute operation, it's impossible not to react to that emotionally and to support it wholeheartedly, and to kind of suddenly just temporarily draw away from the hard cut and thrust of commerce, of procurement specialists trying to drive you down, pulling out and having a look at this and saying, this is genuinely, authentically heart-moving work. And that's how we use it. It's an expression of our creativity, it's an expression of our belief in helping, and it's an expression of what we want to carry on doing.
Our culture at Y&R South Africa has always been about the work and the creativity. It's the way I'm built and the way in which we approach everything. So if there's a, and I always equate the opportunity to do something truly creative, you need a big challenge. You have to have like a really big challenge in order to do something really big in terms of creativity. So we embrace this much like any of our other big challenges, our big projects. We're tremendously proud of this. This has been by no means just a side project that we've done, you know, on the side. This has been a fully integrated piece. Both our Joburg and our Cape Town offices have been across this. There have been quite a few creatives that have touched this on and off. And, you know, it's been tremendously rewarding for everyone. I really believe that for us, we've treated this just like any other project. It's gone through our system. It's, there've been high points and low points. There's been fights. There's been all the drama that you would normally get with something as big as this. But I think at the end of the day, it's all born out of passion.
So we've always seen this as integral to what we do. In fact, I get quite frustrated when I see clients who talk about corporate social investment or corporate social responsibility as being an adjunct to the company. The idea of accounting and accountability is much the same thing to us. And we think it's central. In fact, at Y&R, we've been supporting charities for the 48 years we've been in this country, from the Children's Haven, which was the very first charity we started working with, to all the elements and programs that we've just been speaking about. I think it's central. I think business fundamentally, and the advertising business is no different, is a mechanism. It's as simple as that. And if that mechanism is deployed responsibly, we believe at Y&R that it has a greater impact than almost anything out there to change the world, including politics, by the way. So we genuinely believe that doing good like this is good for our people, is good for the charities or programs we seek to serve, and is ultimately very good for our reputation with our clients, who themselves are supporting similar causes. So we make, as I said from the beginning, we make little distinction. We apply ourselves with the same drive, the same energy, the same creative benchmarks, because these things are important and may well outlive some of the commercial campaigns that we do day in, day out for our clients.
The interesting thing is that when you do get a project like this, and it's quite a long-term project, you can always gauge whether or not it's something that is going to be good by the amount of people that want to be involved in it. And for us, it's been exactly that. There have been so many hands, so many people, so much passion, so much energy has gone into this project. And it's been an incredible ride, an incredible journey, and it's great to be a part of something that helps and changes people's lives. That at the end of the day is the biggest reward.